No, and Cheetah Plains. Have a look there. Long grass. Does anyone see anything? Oh, there we go. Oh, right. Duh. There he is. Found him. He was so flat that we could barely see him. He was so beautifully hidden. There we go. Big yawn. Perfect timing. Because if he's yawning like this, there he goes. Up he gets. Where are you going to head off to now, mister? It amazes me how big this massive male leopard's territory is. So compared to Hasana, for our new viewers that you've been looking at with Byron, this is a proper dominant male leopard in the prime of his life. Okay, and we're going to try and follow him because there's a good chance, as it starts to get dark, that he's going to start to call. Let us try and find a way through here. I'm going to have to go quite slowly. It's very thick, and I would prefer to avoid the possibility of a flat tire. I fear as though I might have made a grievous error here. I have, because he's looking at that tree. Okay, we're going to have to go around. Made life a bit difficult for myself there. All right, everybody, here we go. Whoopsie. How ready are you to fend off trees, Seb? Ready? No stress. The VR is a minor stress. I can feel Rollo's heart rate increase from behind me. He's in the tree. Perfect. You're winning there, Rollo. Got it. I'll explain in a second. I have introduced Rollo several times, but I'll explain for our new viewers as well. You want to go back?
If you reverse, quite a nice.
Oh, perfect. Has he got a leaf in front of his face? Nope. Perfect. Flat cat on a marula branch. That is epic. Perfect. Thank you, boy. I was worried you were going to lie down in the grass again, and then we wouldn't have been able to see you properly at all. Now we've got this gorgeous view. Oh, I think he wants to go further up. Oh, which way are you going, mister? Did you not think this one through? Brief peekaboo. Oh, that is stunning. Oh. Well, thank you. You could not have made that any more perfect if you'd tried. Tingana in a marula tree at sunset. I don't think it gets much better than that. Oh, one big paw draping down. The one thing I love about Tingana, I don't know what it is about him, but there's something about Tingana's facial expression. He looks like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's just my impression of Tingana. That slightly droopy-eyed expression. He just looks so sad all the time. Like he's got deep concerns. And I suppose, as a dominant male leopard, he's got lots of hard work that he needs to do. He needs to patrol constantly, and Tingana does have a massive, massive territory. So that is pretty much keeping him on the move constantly. Yesterday when Byron saw him, he was to the far northwestern corner of Djuma, south of that on Hoffman's. And even before that, where Byron found him, he was even further west of that on Arathusa. He's now as far east in his territory as he can go, and he went straight through Torchwood on his way here. So Tingana he is not a lazy leopard by any stretch of the imagination. He's been kept very busy. It's good to see, though, that he's had some time to eat in between. Somebody looks as though he's got a full belly. Now, compared to Hasana, he's probably about double his size, possibly even more, actually, looking at them both. Now, George, sorry, you're asking about leopard territories, but I just want to double check because sometimes our communications aren't terribly clear. Alice, does what mean a change of territories? Scent marking. Scent marking. Okay, so George wants to know if scent marking means a change of territories. No, not at all, not necessarily. Scent marking most of the time, a large portion of the time, means a keeping of a territory. And it's not necessarily establishing one, but maintaining it. So he has to constantly patrol. His scent is not going to stay on his boundaries forever. And so he's got to rotate round and round and round and round, scent marking bushes to make sure that, I know it's hard work, isn't it? To make sure that he keeps that scent there so another male leopard doesn't think that he can just come in. But yes, if there is a shift in territories, then there is an increase in scent marking. And by scent marking, what we mean is literally just that, urinating on the bushes around them. And then what male leopards will do is they'll also scrape their feet, especially their back feet, in the urine itself and on the ground, and basically transfer the scent of their urine in between their toes so that it follows them as they walk. And a lot of animals do that. Rhino do that as well. And what I'm hoping is we'll get the second part of the whole territorial patrol as well this evening. And when Tingana does decide to come down from his marula tree, he might start to give his territorial call or his roar. And that's that deep sawing sound that we so unsuccessfully tried to imitate on World Leopard Day. Well, I know I was unsuccessful, can't speak for the others. I'm not moving. We've got prime position. We're definitely not moving out. And Laura B. in Alabama, you want to know if Tingana would potentially kill Hosanna if he ran into him. I'm not sure about that. Obviously, there is a distinct possibility, a very strong possibility, that Tingana is the father of Hosanna. He knows Hosanna, he's met Hosanna, and they've shared kills many times with Tingana. Karula and the two cubs in Tingana have all sat together and eaten together. And as the dominant male leopard, it would be counterintuitive to kill his own cub. However, Karula hasn't been in the area for a long time, and I'm not sure if that would play any kind of a role in Tingana's response to her. I'm not 100% sure. But leopards do strange things. Leopards don't read the textbooks. Leopards will surprise us. I don't think he would, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll tell you a little bit more about being a young male and being booted out of your father's territory in a bit. But speaking of the two leopards that we have, let's go from the father to the son. A dangling leopard in a tree, or at least dangling foot out of a tree. Tingana's taken the opportunity to have a little bit of a snooze in his marula tree. He doesn't have to worry about hoisting a kill like his son does, which means that he can sit quite contentedly. And I have to say, I think it's just the angle that we're sitting at, but he looks so compressed. He looks like he's squashed himself right up, which has made him look a little bit like he's shaped like a barrel. Look at that belly. It's massive. Although Tingana is the king of ungainly-looking poses in trees, every time I see him, he just looks that little bit weird, a little bit odd. And the last time was when he stole Mvula's kill on Gallagher Shortcut. Oh, shame. Biting flies, attacking his ear, nicks and cuts that all leopards get with age as they grow older. Ah, flies, you made him turn his head. We had such a beautiful view. Well, Finn, who is 8 years old, Finn feels really sorry for the animals with the biting flies and would like to know if we could spray them with anything. Finn, it would be really difficult to do without scaring them, and we try not to interfere too much with nature, because one thing that we've learned is that nature knows best, and as little interference as we can possibly do with the animals, that's what we try and do. We don't try and interfere in any way. And it would be really difficult to get up to Tingana and say, listen, You sit still, and I'm just going to spray you with something that will help you with the flies, because he's not going to understand that. He's just going to think that we're doing something horrible to him, and he might be scared of people after that. And that would just be one leopard. Imagine trying to find all of them, and the lions, and all the antelope. We'd need tanks and tanks of bug spray. But don't worry, Finn, we also sit with the biting flies, so we understand what the animals go through, and it's not too bad. It irritates them a little bit, but it doesn't bother them too much. It's part of their life. That is a gorgeous screenshot that happened right there. Leopard print all the way. Now, he's been spotted by the monkeys at Cheetah Plains Lodge, and what astounds me about that is just how far away they are, and the fact that they saw him. Look, he's not exactly hiding when he's up in a tree like this, but still, the fact that they've seen him from about, I would say, 500 meters away, 500 yards, just is an important lesson to us. When we're searching for leopards and we hear monkey's alarm calling, that the leopard could be quite a lot further than we expect. Oh, that is such a graceful draping of his tail right there. Oh, there we go. Head's back looking at the monkeys with a somewhat dismissive expression on his face. He could not be less concerned that they've seen him. He's got a comfortable tree and a full belly. It's not like he's going to try and hunt something. He could, but he's unlikely to make too much of an effort. Glancing off. Leopards are so perfect. They really are. Of all of the animals out here, they are just so beautifully designed. And I really like Tingana. It makes me sad that there are people who vilify him for what happened with Shaluva. And just for new viewers, Tingana killed a female leopard a couple of months ago now. And we're still not entirely sure why he did it. He just ran in and bit her. Okay, let's just go over quickly to Asana, see what he's up to. Tingana staring off into the distance. How spoilt are we that we get to switch between two different leopards? And I agree absolutely with Byron that I think that Tingana would tolerate Hosana for now. As Hosana gets older, it will become harder and harder for them to tolerate each other's company, or at least for Tingana to tolerate him, because it's his job to defend his territory against all male leopards, even once one reaches sexual maturity, even if it's his son. That is one of the big reasons why young male leopards disperse. They have to hide away from both their fathers and all other dominant males in an area that would not take kindly to their presence. Pretty eyes. Oh, that's beautiful. Cosmic, yes. Leopards, of the big cats that we see out here, leopards are the most solitary of all of them. Leopards and female cheetah. And leopards obviously are only seen in each other's company, or usually only seen in each other's company, when they are either mating or they have cubs. Sometimes you get odd situations where, because of course they all know each other in an area, where a dominant male might come and share a kill with a female, or her previous set of cubs will come and share with her. But for the most part, they are very much solitary. Female cheetah are solitary unless they have cubs, but male cheetah form coalitions, or very often form coalitions, because it's much easier for them to establish a territory in that manner. Yes, of all of the big cats, I would say the leopard is the most solitary. And I don't know, I always find when I see them mating that it seems as though they, even though instinct drives them to mate, it seems as though actually they really would rather be on their own. They don't seem terribly impressed with each other's company. He's looking across, getting comfortable and looking across at a herd of impala that I saw in the distance. And of course, with all of the rutting going on, it's actually an exciting time for the leopards, because the male impala are not paying attention. which is how, well, I think, one of the reasons behind why Hosana managed to nab that young male that he's caught. He's been doing really well for himself. But a big male like Tingana could easily take down an adult male impala, a fully grown adult male impala. There have been recorded cases of males the size of Tingana taking down baby giraffe. They are phenomenally powerful creatures. Could this be a better leopard tree? I have to ask you. Look at these perfect branches. Jason in Sri Lanka, a complex question. Jason in Sri Lanka says, we're looking at a subspecies of leopard. How are subspecies created? The other tricky thing, of course, is to get biologists to agree on subspecies and which animals are classified as subspecies and which are not. So a subspecies is basically a member of the same species. They could still interbreed with each other, they could still produce viable offspring, but there's enough difference in either their physiological or genetic makeup that separates them just enough that they are classified as a subspecies. And you'll find, Jason, that what's created that is quite often geographical separation. So separation in terms of perhaps there is a large river in between the different subspecies, or more likely potentially just different habitats that they've adapted to, perhaps a big desert that stops them from crossing. And as a result, through thousands and thousands of years of breeding, certain genetic traits of the ones, let's use the river example as an oversimplification, certain genetic traits have been established in the leopards on the left-hand side of the river, and certain genetic traits have been established on the leopards on the right-hand side of the river. And once those have become clear enough, they then become classified as a subspecies. But it's a difficult one, because not everybody agrees on exactly how to classify certain subspecies. And you'll probably find several articles either classifying this as an African leopard, or a Southern African leopard, or a South African leopard. There'll be different types. Well, since Tingana doesn't seem to be going anywhere with his full belly, let's go back across to Hosana, who's filling his. Tingana has just sort of called, he half called, and he's alerted the impala to his presence here. And I'm hoping as soon as he hits the ground, once he gets out of this tree, he's going to call again. And I'm just going to quickly make sure I've got my spotlight ready for him. We were just in the process of putting our infrared lights on, and we hadn't quite finished said process. That's the sawing I was talking about. I'm not going to reposition now because I think he's going to come straight down, and then there's a good chance he's going to call again. Oh, come down this way, boy. Oh, you're hidden anyway. Hold on. Yeah, he's down. Sorry, I could not do that in time. Okay, let's just switch off in case he does call again. He's going to walk straight towards us. Oh, he's marking his territory, scent marking. Oh, we're just going to have to sit patiently and wait for him to come out. Here he comes. Now, bear in mind we are going to have to reposition potentially relatively soon. Come on, boy. Oh, I was so hoping you were going to call right now. Oh, don't count him out yet. Oh, I love that sound. Now, he's been well and truly... Oh, okay. All right then, that was unexpected. B. Wilson, While we wait for him to call once again, you want to know, is he eating something?
Looks like it, yes. Licking something.
He is licking something. I wonder if he didn't have a kill here earlier. Or was... What is that? Can't quite work it out. Sorry, B. Wilson. Just want to work out what he's eating, and then I'll answer your question. What he's licking.
Yeah.
He looks... Ugh. Sorry, that was a very unprofessional response to what I think he's doing. I think he's busy licking some kind of dung or scat. It could be hyena, it could be lion, and it doesn't look flesh-coloured unless it's the stomach contents of a small animal, but that's not blood. That's something else. I think he's eating scat, personally. It's got that greenish tinge to it that hyena scat has. That's why I went, ugh. It was a gut visceral reaction. We can't judge the animals for having slightly different tastes to us. Oh boy, your breath is gonna smell horrible. Would you like a mint? Was that a yes? It was very cutesy. B. Wilson, sorry, you want to know how many years Tingana's got left as the dominant male. Hard to tell. How old is he? I mean, he's around about, big yawn, 10 or so years old, from what we know. It could be that he could have another 2 or 3. It very much depends on the young blood coming in, the young male leopards. And that's hard to predict because they can move and cover such enormous distances. We're going to sit patiently with the king, but apparently, on Safari Live, it's Father Sunday.